Hi everyone, I'm John Dahlia, back again with another TMC Technologies Today podcast. It's all things Team TMC and TMC Technologies, and today we're really special guest today, by the way, for episode number 4. This is Brad Reed. He's our Chief Security Officer for TMC Technologies. And Brad, I want to dive right into this because cybersecurity is an issue that really affects everybody. Mm-hmm. You know, you could have a computer at home or you could be working somewhere. You could even be working for the government like what we do and deal with cyber issues all the time. So, you know, what would you say is our biggest threats today? What's out there that's really the big issues, the big problems with cyber?
I don't necessarily want to be throwing out, odd words, but it's what we don't know. Cybersecurity comes down to the fact that it can be ransomware, it can be odd things that come up in the middle of the night. It's just odds and ends, and not knowing the fact that you don't know you have this little security flaw sitting in your system, or you don't know that you're getting this phishing email and someone clicks on something that they shouldn't. So the biggest fear, definitely, and the biggest thing that I've seen is you don't know what you don't know, and that's what you spend all these hours. We're going through all the NIST controls and everything, just trying to close that gap and go through the checklist, and hopefully we catch everything.
So it's kind of like thinking ahead, right, of the cyber criminals, and these folks are really smart. So, I know this is a kind of a simple question. Maybe it's not, because a lot of people say, you can protect yourself by putting up a firewall or maybe change your passwords. What's the magic bullet for protecting yourself against all of these crazy cyber spam attacks that everyone seems to be getting?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they go out in hundreds of days, thousands a day. Having worked in SOC in a few areas, it's amazing just how many bots and how many things come in. So it does come down to the endpoints, which it can be a system, it can be a user, it can be anything. And not to pick on anything in particular, but really it's going through those controls, it's making sure that your systems look good. You can only do that to a certain point. You've got to make sure that something, your users are in good shape, and hope that they, by the end of the day, don't click on that link in that email. Yeah,
obviously, it's common sense, right? If it looks suspicious, it probably is, right?
Be true.
It's scary. And, I've gotten things all the time. Here at TMC, we get this stuff all the time, and sometimes it can be someone that and it's not a real thing. Our boss every once in a while I get an email from my boss saying, could you please loan me money? Well, if you know Wade Linger, he's not going to ask us that question. So
I've gotten that email too.
Yeah, no, it's bizarre. So anyway, let's keep going. So, okay, biggest fear. What's looming out there? And I'm not just talking about for our company, but in general. There have been all kinds of cyber attacks, ransomware attacks that have really been, kind of big stories. Mm-hmm. What keeps you up at night in this business?
It's the fast pace of everything and how it changes. I mean, you've got, go way out there. You got even quantum computing that's coming in that supposedly is going to beat all types of encryption. The way it processes, that's kind of scary to think about. They're going to be able to change computer platform, and all of a sudden, all modern encryption is going to be just worthless.
That's terrifying.
I mean, that's huge. Now I don't want to say that keeps me up, but it's the things like that make me think. Even on a small level, back in 2016, Mirai, that botnet, it took advantage of a lot of misconfigurations of people just not setting a password in their router, just keeping the default password and such, and it became so big, so quick of simple things like that.
Wow.
So it's those kind of things of technology getting out to a market as quick as it can without a lot of thought of security. So, one thing I really do like about the team that I'm working on in multiple areas is the fact that security is brought in through the entire process and from the beginning, and security is not being brought in at the last bit of, hey, check us over, make sure we're good. And we become part of that process, and that helps a lot, being able to be part of the entire 360 of the development.
So being proactive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, oh my goodness, our firewall crashed or something. So you're reacting to that instead of being prepared. That's the part that I think that's probably the simplest thing to tell folks is, keep your password, right? Change your passwords or have them unique or something. Don't do like the word password, or something like that. I mean, it happens though, or your birth date or something. Well, Brad, I mean, we touched on some issues really quick. Cybersecurity is a concern, and we'll probably have more time. Brad will probably be back more often because cyber issues change so much. And, again, doing business, you have to be careful all the time, and it's an issue that you have to be aware of. And we want to make sure our listeners and viewers also understand that, here at TMC, we take that stuff extraordinarily seriously. And you also teach, right? Yeah. Kind of switching gears. So you teach at which school? Alderson Broadus?
I do. Yeah. I do have some hours with Alderson.
What do you teach?
Cybersecurity.
So how many students do you have? Have you started the semester? Well, not yet, right? This fall semester starts.
It starts in a couple weeks. I think I've got 9 to 12 enrolled in the one class I do have.
So last question, but sure. I know this is kind of like a surprise because I didn't tell them this, but thinking about your expertise and, the fact that you teach a college course, what do they ask? Like, what do the students, do they know? Do they have a general idea of what cybersecurity is all about?
They do, to an extent. I mean, okay, so teaching online is a little bit different because sometimes you wonder if they're truly awake on the other side of the camera. Students are students. Yeah. But then again, though, whenever you actually do get the ones that interact, they're starting to ask really cool questions and starting to, how much can I tell them? And I got to stop and think to myself, okay, no names on this one, but yes, I can tell you about this instance. Yeah. And then they start, starting to see a little bit of, it's fun to share that with them.
Well, Brad, thank you so much for joining us. It was really wonderful to hear all this information about cybersecurity and all your expertise that you brought to our viewers and our listeners of the Team TMC Today podcast. Folks, it was great to be here. We'll be back real soon for episode number 5.